The Puma Deviate Nitro 3 at 150 miles. Have I overestimated how long this shoe is going to last? Let's get into it. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're already subscribed to watching content. Thanks so much, love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of other updates and things like that. So without further ado, let's begin. Specs for the shoe, somewhere up here. So things we need to know immediately with the Deviate Nitro 3. Let's just first go over the outsoles and just kind of talk about the shoe's current situation on where it is in the lineup and how I got to 150 miles so quickly on it. So first things we'll discuss. This is currently the only main daily trainer in my shoe lineup, which is strange. I do have some desires to pick up 2 more daily trainers as I get into the Chicago Marathon training block officially once the Chicago Triathlon week is officially completed and I can focus strictly on running and things like that. So this is the only daily trainer I have, and I've put 150 miles on it in the last 3 weeks, so about 50 miles a week-ish, give or take. But again, there's some other caveats and things like that, including walking and whatnot. So, as you probably saw from the outsoles, you guys might have been onto something when we talked about this, right? Where I suspected this shoe could get to 400 plus miles like its predecessor, the Deviate Nitro 2. And I was thinking, okay, with lugs and the way the shoe is designed, there's no way that this shoe's wear would be anywhere close to the Deviate Nitro 2s, right? That it would last longer. And the way I see it right now, like, look how much I've burned off on the top area of this shoe. Look how much is burned off in my usual strike point. Look at this foam fatigue plus dirt. There's a little bit of like clay wear from like that crushed gravel style, routes that I kind of run on. So that might play a part in all of this. It's definitely playing a part in the dirt of this shoe. I should probably wash this thing before anything else. But anyways, the wear on the rubber is quite concerning. But what I do like is that I don't see any massive wear to the Nitro Elite foam, as this bottom nitro layer is reinforcing the shoe as I predicted it would. What I wasn't expecting was this rubber to take somewhere as much of a beating as it is. And it's hard to see from here, but like, we have this thick piece of rubber here, and then it gets really thinned out right about where we have this burn area. So I'm expecting to be running on the foam real soon, which is, again, a major concern that could be a huge problem when it comes to daily training with this thing. In the forefoot area, there's still a little bit of rubber to work with. It's not nearly as cooked on this tip area of the shoe, but it's gonna get there, right? The heel is okay. The forefoot area, it has kind of the wear zone is pretty much equal all across the board, as I've been trying to focus more on getting that forefoot strike, but clearly the focus needs to be a lot more aggressive as the outside area of the shoe is kind of getting beaten up as well. Now, with the left foot, which I kind of lost over here, same sort of story. We do have this wear on this side of the shoe. The forefoot area, like in the central spot, is also taking a beating, but yeah, again, the outsides are just getting way too beaten up, and that could be a result of a couple of things, right? One is that this shoe is overcompensating for the fact that I don't have any sort of overpronation, which a 10mm offset shoe is designed to take your foot higher and overpronate just slightly. So if I have femoral anteversion, overpronation won't be necessarily an issue for me, and as a result, I can get into a more natural shoe. So when I run in something that's like 10mm of a stack height offset, then what happens is I'm just like over supinating, and as a result, that's probably why my wear zone is on the outside, and that could be why the muscles on the outer point of my legs, whether it's like the IT band or just the outside of my calf, are taking more of a beating as a result. So these are just things to consider with a shoe like this that is a lot of fun. It's highly consistent to run in, but as a result of just the specs of the shoe, maybe going back to like a Deviate Nitro 2, which has slightly less supination because it's like 8mm versus 10, could be an ideal choice, but it's not like the first thing I'm going to do, because again, whenever we go over these shoe experiments, the idea of the experiment is to run the experiment all the way through, no matter what the consequences are. Unless we break the shoe, then it's like, that's kind of what we were looking for, right? So that's the first thing, of course, is just the wear is quite excessive for this stage of the shoe. But everything else has been pretty green flag across the board for me. Like, I have zero complaints about the way the upper is functioning so far. I mentioned last time that I was looking for this like stress point in the textile that's on the mesh. It's still there. There still isn't any sort of ripping as far as I see. The shoe is still intact where I need it to be. But again, that's kind of what I'm looking for, is if I'm going to have any sort of wear and tear on this side, anything on the textile piece, maybe something back here. But right now, it's holding up just fine, I believe, on both shoes. If I can see it clearly, yeah, it looks like it's okay. The inside areas of the arch are also just fine. Just, again, this shoe is just running through like that crushed gravel, clay sort of texture in my last run, and that's why it's sort of a little bit extra dirty, which I don't like, but hey, you know, here we are, and this is kind of what it is. It was also kind of rainy too, so that kind of explains some of the mud. But again, as a daily trainer, I'm still enjoying it massively. Again, even with femoral anti-version and having a more neutral, not so pronated, just slightly supinated foot, having a shoe that helps a little bit with supination doesn't bother me. I'm just used to that 10mm offset as well, and that's like probably the maximum offset I should go for any sort of running. And I can't think of too many shoes that go further than that. I'm sure they exist for those with like a really bad overpronation, but in this case, it's still good. Totally works fine with the specs at hand as they are. Resembles more of like the Pegasus style shoe, but has the carbon plate that doesn't feel flat. And yeah, just, you know, the lockdown of the shoe is fine. The ride is fine. If you enjoyed the Deviate Nitro 2, you'll enjoy the Deviate Nitro 3. Just the main concern, again, as I've been speaking with you guys, is price point. That you guys would still much rather stick with the Deviate Nitro 2, even though it's an older shoe. It is cheaper than the Deviate Nitro 3, but next year then you're going to be saying that this is the cheaper shoe, and like the Deviate Nitro 4 or whatever their offshoot of this shoe will be is going to be like, it's going to be the same discussion point, right? So I understand price is important for you guys, but at this point, like, as just me testing this thing, everything that they've changed on this shoe is pretty good as far as I'm aware. I do like the addition of just full out road rubber, no lugs. That was just, you know, just a personal thing. But yeah, I don't have anything else crazy to say. Again, I want to get to the shoe past 200, past 300 miles. I do just want to see it every 50 miles or so, just to kind of keep you guys updated with how far you can take this thing before things really kind of go to ish, if you catch my drift. So I'll leave it at that. If you have any agreements or disagreements with the assessment, let me know in the comments below. But at this point, I think we're going to leave the review as it is. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.